Hello and welcome back to Talking Europe. Well, today we're going to focus on recent election results in Poland and in Slovakia and discuss how they might affect Europe's political direction. Liberals across the continent are cheering as Polish opposition parties won enough seats to form a majority, potentially ending 8 years of rule by the Conservative Law and Justice Party. Meanwhile, nationalists in Europe have applauded the return to power of Robert Fico in Slovakia. He now has a coalition agreement with two other parties, something which could set a different tone in relations with Brussels, as well as on key issues such as Ukraine or migration. Well, to discuss the implications of all this, I'm joined by Katarina Rotnevedyalova, a Slovak MEP, formerly with the Socialists and Democrats, now unattached. Welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
I'm also joined by Róża Thun, a Polish MEP from the centrist Renew Europe bloc. Hello to you again, Róża.
Hi.
Katarina Rot, let's start with you because we do now have this Slovak government that has actually been approved. What will change now?
I believe that Slovakia has, after 3 years of irresponsible governments, finally the leader who can support European Union, who can represent the country very well. I don't expect too much changes. You know Robert Fico. Robert Fico was the Prime Minister of Slovakia for already 10 years, and we as a party were 12 years in a government in Slovakia. So you know what to expect. The most political issues, the most difficult, which can be slightly changing from the position of Slovakia, could be that we are standing and we have always been standing against the changes in the system of the veto, the system of the votes in the European Council, and also the thing which was so much discussed in the Europe, in Brussels, everywhere, was that we are not supporting the military aid for Ukraine. But that's all. I wouldn't expect too much changes from
those are probably two quite big changes already, Róża Thun. No, the end of military aid to Ukraine from Slovakia and this whole question of vetoes in the European Council.
Well, I believe, I know, I trust that everybody will help Ukraine to win this war against this horrible Russian invasion. And this is really, I'm sorry to say so, but this is our duty. And everybody who doesn't understand, see it, do it, endangers also us, also Europe, because those Ukrainian struggle not only for themselves, but for us and for the values that we all share in the European Union. And I believe that the new government in Slovakia also shares those values, which are represented by those who give their lives in Ukraine, and we are obliged to help them. Now, as far as the changes in the treaty are concerned, it's not only that we must help the Ukrainians to win the war, but we will enlarge the European Union, and Ukraine will join, and several other countries. We will be a very big group of very many states, and we have to organize better so that we function, so that we do not take decisions for years. We must act faster, better coordinated, and that demands changes in the treaty, which I think most of the countries will support, and what the final result will be, we shall see. But we have to reorganize.
Yeah, let's take the question of military aid. Let's drill down on that. Why is it ending?
Yeah, it's ending because we don't have anything to be sent to Ukraine. So we are not saying that any other member states shouldn't do that. We are just saying we don't have anything to be sent to Ukraine, so we cannot support military development or military aid for Ukraine. We are not saying that we are not supporting Ukraine at all. We will support humanitarian aid, we will support the economic reconstruction. We are supporting the refugees, and as well as Poland, Slovakia has a very high number of refugees from Ukraine who resides in our countries, and they stay there, they work there, and we are supporting them. So we are not saying we don't support Ukraine. We are just choosing not to support military because we don't have any military, and we have much more structural problems in Slovakia, the economic problems, the social problems. We have very high debt, so we don't have the money to do that. So we decided that this is not the right way. We can support them. We cannot just support them with something which we don't have. We don't have even the money for that. And concerning the changes of the treaties, this is the first time when we have a discussion about this, that this is because of the enlargement. And as an enlargement, Slovakia is supporting enlargement of the European Union. As you know, we have the equal rules for everybody. Whoever supports these rules, whoever fulfills all the rules, we are supporting that country to become the member of the European Union. But Ukraine is not going to be there very soon. This is very sad, and we shouldn't lie to them. We should stick to what we can and what we cannot. So I believe that there will be enlargement. We are supporting enlargement, especially in the Western Balkan countries. This is very good, but we shouldn't also change the rules specifically about the veto, about the voting in the council, just because it's not gonna okay with for us this moment. And the arguments which were used until today are still the arguments that it's not that we need the faster decisions in the European Union, but it's also because we want to bypass Hungary, and this is not a good reason, because we shouldn't change the rules while we are working on something.
Is that the real point here, that the people who want to change the voting system, they want to bypass Hungary?
It may be, but of course, first, those changes are also not very fast. To change the treaties, it's an enormous work and effort, etc. Of course, Ukraine will not join tomorrow, but we must be ready for that. So we must work on those changes and have a thorough discussion and work together, and not let some countries dismantle the European Union by blocking, vetoing, etc., etc. Let us work together and reinforce the union. And as far as the weapons are concerned, some countries have more weapons, some less, but the declaration itself is very important. It's the declaration, we are with you, or we keep a distance. And this is also politically extremely important. We must all help Ukraine, military, humanitarian way, whatever, and open the door to the European Union, and then do the best we can.
I should perhaps make a point for our viewers that there are still commercial contracts in Slovakia where private contractors will still provide weapons to Ukraine, but they'll be paid essentially from other EU countries. So it's not as if all military help in reality will stop. Am I right on that?
Yeah, that's very correct, because we are not touching the military contracts of the private companies in Slovakia. This is something which we cannot do. It's a political statement of the government. And also, it's very important to say that we are the only one being criticized for this, but we are not the only one not doing that. So there are also other member countries in the European Union who are not supporting military aid to Ukraine, but we are the only one which is the picked.
No, you're not singled out. No,
yeah, we are the only one criticized for this, and we think that we are also a sovereign country, and we can decide what we want and what we don't want to do. Plus, we are also the member of the NATO, as the other member states from European Union, and we are fully supporting our commitments in NATO. So this is a different discussion. We are just saying that at this point we are not ready to do that because of the reasons which we already mentioned. So I mean, this is very clear.
I think that those declarations, we are the only ones who are criticized. Nobody likes us, and for us, this is never true. So here, you know, let us listen to each other and see what's going on. Of course, each country that declares neutrality, that we have such member states who declare neutrality, which doesn't mean anything whatsoever, they are being criticized very much, and sovereignty means also that we can have a thorough debate, and everybody has a right to express a certain way of criticism or demand solidarity in Europe of all countries, especially in a situation when one country next to us is attacked by another one bigger, etc.
But it's also, I'm sorry, just one sentence. It is also, the sovereignty is also about the sovereignty over our own territory and our own decisions. So we can be discussed, we can be discussed, we can be discussing, we can be criticized, but we also, we have the right to have our own decision on any matter which we consider
Nobody
important.
takes this right away from anybody else.
Just on the question of relations with Hungary, because obviously people who don't like the kind of politics that Robert Fico and Viktor Orban represent, they're worried about a kind of axis now between Slovakia and Hungary. Do you think that's overstated because they have actually some differences, or they will work together closely?
Of course, they are different politicians, but Viktor Orban is not somebody we don't want to have a good cooperation with. The reasoning is very simple. We have 10% of the Slovak population considering them ethnic Hungarians. Hungary is our biggest neighbor on the south. So we need to have a cooperation with whoever is there, as well as we need the cooperation with the Polish government, because we have also the borders with Poland. So we have to have this cooperation. We have to have these discussions with these people, whoever is there. We have to have the good cooperation.
And on borders and migration, that's going to definitely be a closer partnership, I would have thought.
Exactly, because we have the mountains on the north with Poland, but we have a very low land in the south with Hungary.
Any thoughts on the possible Orban-Fico axis from you? If we
Well,
can
I
call
am
it an
not there
axis
to
even.
judge Orban Fico. This is not, so to say, my cup of tea or not the way I look at Europe and at our future. I believe that we can give the future to our next generations and to ourselves, of course, only if we strongly work together, reinforce this Europe, deepen the integration. And if we have members who try to dismantle it, it's exactly the way to dismantle European or to weaken the European Union. It's an extremely dangerous politics because it doesn't give us neither security in none of the senses, in none of the meanings, neither military security nor social order, nor I'm thinking here about climate change, for example. We can act only, we can achieve anything only if we are together also on migration politics or policy. So this is a completely different point of view. I believe in a much stronger integration, solidarity, and a strong Europe because this reinforces each of our states and each of our citizens.
Okay, we'll end it on that note, but thank you so much to both of you for this lively debate, Róża Thun and Katarina Rotnevedzielova. That's all for this edition of Talking Europe. I'll be back again for another episode very soon from the European Parliament here in Brussels. Thanks for watching.